Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to PCM23. This is Lions episode number 8. 32k to go in our next objective. I did finally fail an objective, but it was through Quick Sim. Today we just need to finish in the top 10. Plenty of undulation on the way towards the finish. The breakaway still has a 2-minute advantage. 6 riders, but the chase is intense. There's enough with the rolling hills. It's very technical along the way. This is the widest road that we have been on for quite some time, and it looks like we're going to be off of it in just a moment as it gets right back down to being skinny again here. And you can see just how tight things are as we round this corner. 26k to go now. Position really starting to matter, and we're actually seeing a lot of splits as the road gets skinny and you have those little undulating periods. So we're going to really put our foot down to hold position from now on, and then we're going to try to get to the front here fairly soon. At the moment, Peloton is just 40. At the moment, the breakaway down to under a minute and a half, and we're down to under 20k. I'm liking our chances of getting that top 10 today, maybe even doing something more. Not a major field. You're seeing an attack here. This is probably a good time to begin our response, or at least very soon. 16k. Let's do it. Still 16k to go, and this is not the strongest team that I could be bringing to a race. As Osman getting caught up here, we've got to get out front. This is going to be the key if we're going to succeed. Track position compared to everybody else is now essential, and Osman can't even get forward, and I can't even get others forward for now. Let's try to help Mansouri get through. Osman, if he can get forward, even though he's not going to have the other guys with him, it'll help stretch things, and that's going to be important. So Osman does get forward. Mansouri unable to get through, but we find a little bit of space here. Mansouri's done. All right, sorry, Osman is done, that is. So Mansouri, get him out of the way, and Mansouri comes forward. There's the break. Down to 5 riders, and we've just about reeled them in, and we're down to 9k. Colin Joyce trying to attack, but Ishimwe functioning the way it should. 6.4k. This is the last real proper hill. So Johannes Dalek, as he comes through, this is a good time. We're splitting the field. Just 21 riders left now in the peloton as we go over the top of this little hill. This, like I said, this is important to be kind of pushing. And now our top 10 seems quite secure. Davids, Arafane, Gibbons. We got our top 2 guys, but after that it really drops off. 3k, Johannes. He's going to start his sprint. He's got no red bar, so his sprinting really isn't going to amount to much right now. One other team getting a really good lead out, probably contending for the win now. But here we go, 1.5, Arafane. Oh, those guys came through really fast. Really fast. Are we in position for a top 10? Arafane, there's 3, 6, 8. We're 11th right now. No. The position out front, just we couldn't hold on to. These guys came through. We were there 1 second, and then all of a sudden there's 12, 15 guys ahead of us. Grisu takes the win ahead of Boudet and Buwani. Definitely better sprinters than what we have. McClay in 7th, but Arafane just 11th. Couldn't quite beat out Quinn Simmons, who isn't a natural sprinter, but is a much stronger rider than any of my guys. And yeah, Gibbons, he couldn't even beat Davids there. For a moment, it looked good, and then all of a sudden, whew, we were just overwhelmed before we ever even got into our sprint. We did have some early successes, completing all 3 of our first goals, but with failures in the last 2, including missing by 1 spot just a moment ago, it's not looking as good anymore. I mean, we're already down to just barely being into that super success range. We're likely to fail the next 3, as I'm going to be focusing on Alps, but that's a top 3 requirement that we're looking for in that race, and that's GC. Kudos is the one we're going to have to rely on. We don't know how bad that mountain is, but that's going to be a tough race to get a top 3 on. I mean, if it was top 10, I'm like, oh, sure, we can get Kudos into the top 10. I don't know how bad the mountain is. He's not a very good mountain rider. I don't know how tough the opposition is going to be. We could then be turning right around to Perry Troy going, hey, this is going to be important. Crunch still could be very important at the end of the season. So 3 big races coming up. I might have to just jump into the Flèche Ardennaise to try to secure another top 10 along the way. With the evaluation falling to the second tier, I've gone ahead and picked up an extra race, Ardennaise, and as we're here in the Ardennes Forest for this one, there's a lot of undulation. It is not flat by any stretch of the imagination, and this is the weakest team that I've brought to a race that I have controlled, at least this season. Can we get a job done? Can we get into the top 10? Big breakaway today. There was 13 riders. The first one just dropped, and it's still 2.5 minutes with just 27K left. Peloton starting to disintegrate. 82 effort is quickly becoming not enough. We're definitely focused on the climbers. Speaking of, let's roll up to an 85 here so we can handle the, 4 climbs left between here and the finish line and just 25K to make that happen. Far too long of a distance to try to sprint train this thing with our team, with this team in particular, right? This is very much a B team for me as it is. So grabbing that top 10, it's not going to be easy. Not going to be easy, especially with that breakaway. Now 60 riders left in the peloton. 23K to go. Let's take our 2 weakest guys and gel up because there's a small amount of recovery happening right now with the descent, but it's certainly not going to be much, and we're going to be climbing again here very soon. Those 2 are going to be on their last legs, and nobody else is looking particularly great at this point. One more rider from the front group has been dropped. That's a good thing for us. The breakaway might win today, but if it's down to the final 3 riders, then there's still 7 slots left to get into the top 10. All right, here we go. Big climb, 1.8K. It's steep, 8.5% overall, but it's over 12 right now. Okay, Johannes Stark is going backwards. Looked like we had a rider trying to attack there for a second, but he expended a lot of energy to push up like that, and it looks like that's just a support rider for that team. And we're down to 52 riders. Down to 52. Let's go ahead and take a second. Johannes, Otto, thank you. Okay, Davids, you are going to protect a Shimway and Gel. Osman is already fading. And these 3 guys need to up their effort. 16K. We need to just hold position. 51 riders chasing 11. Down to 2 minutes. Penultimate climb already. We're going to have to set things up at the top of this one to then attack the next climb and do what we can to split the field, break it off, and gain ground on that breakaway and hope that it disintegrates. 13K. Almost to the top. Almost starting to crest over, and there you go, we're over. Osman has been dropped. Mansouri, Davids, those guys are definitely going first. Shimway is, I think, the weakest. It is going to come down to a sprint, though, and a Shimway is where that's at. So a Shimway, just split the field, 25 riders now. 12K. And we got 5 guys to try to make something happen. Okay, front group is disintegrating. At least 3-4 riders have been dropped, and they're on this final climb. So Mansouri leading it out. Red bar is gone, but let's give him a little bit longer as 4 riders start to go clear. Davids. No red bar left with the group, so we can only push so hard, so fast as we climb. Davids is done, so Abdia, give what he's got all the way to the top, just pushing as best we can, as fast as we can, as we are eating up some of those riders, and we are close to the top here. Abdia out of energy, so we're on to our final 2. Brevet Ashimwe is still there. Okay, for a second I thought we lost him. We're in a good position here. We're ahead of what is considered the front of the field. 6K. Here's something I need to do very quickly. Automatic for all those guys. There we go. And we got 2 guys left chasing. Gel, 4.4K. There are 7 riders up the road. 5 are close. Gabravet is done, giving me his 99. And Shimwei just does not have enough to attack. So we're kind of riding for that 10th place right now. 2.4K. Gabravet comes back forward even though he's got nothing in the tank. Just over 1K. He gives me a little bit of a lead out there. 1.3 is still a little too much to be full on sprinting. Got to hit the top of that hill and get inside that last kilometer. Shimwei just doesn't have much. We're going to just miss the top 10 here, it looks like. Yeah, there's 7 riders there. There's 5 ahead of me. We're going to be 13th place. With our B team, that's decent. With 7 riders from the break surviving, getting 5th on the sprint in the bunch with our B team, it's okay. But ultimately, it's not a top 10, so it's not going to be a bonus for us, but at least it's only a partial penalty. Good test to see what our B team is capable of. It was a hard race. There wasn't much quality here, but that was still a hard race. And that breakaway, having the numbers it did, and the gap that it did, and half of those guys staying away, too much for the likes of us, but still good to gauge where we're at. For sponsor confidence, we've reached the critical phase. Critical phase being we have 4 objectives left till the sighting period, and 3 of them are going to be tough but doable. The other one would actually be fairly easy, but it's a half star, so I'm not going to bother. Top 3, 5-stage stage race that we're just going to get started on here. This is going to roll over into a couple episodes. But then the day after it ends, we have Perry Troy. 2-star objective for that one, a little bit less. And then that GP Crunch. Top 5, top 10, top 3. Not easy, except for, you know, the Perry Troy seems pretty doable. I think if we can manage to do 2 of these 3 objectives, we might get where we need to get. Anything less than that, though, and we're looking at just hanging on. And if we get 0, we're probably going to drop into being in the same territory we were a year ago. So we do need to get at least a result out of these 3 to have any chance of staying put in the success range. And I think we're going to need minimum 2 to bump ourselves back up after we've had 5 failures in a row. 3 of those we quick-simmed past, but 2 of those we came up just short. There's 5 stages. 2 of them are sprint stages. So we're already on to stage number 2 overall. Next stage is the other sprint stage. There's 2 stages I need to worry about. One pretty punchy stage, and one definitely a mountain stage that I'm not sure we're up to the task. But then there's this stage. Not at all worried about, but if you quick sim it, because it's classified as a punchy stage, we'd see splits and we'd see time losses, and we just can't afford to take that risk. So here we are, doing what we have to do, which is play the stage out to make sure we don't lose time. Breakaway still has a 1-minute advantage, but it's just 17K, and there's definitely undulation. We are going to sprint train this thing, and we are going to try to win the stage if possible with Gibbons, but make sure, more than anything else, that we just do not lose any time today. That little over a minute gap is down to 50 seconds now, and as we hit the top of that little hill portion, you're getting a couple guys trying to attack Arroyo, who I was thinking about targeting for the coming season, by the way. I'm into the dossiers already. Quick note on that while I pause and just reveal that information to you so I don't try to multitask and blah, blah, blah with my words. I'm not going to target Arroyo. Few too many points, little bit too expensive. Potential-wise, other riders are going to do what he's going to do and better. Add cost less. We're just going to have to be patient to wait for them to catch up to him on development. But in the dossiers, the good news is, outside of the 3 guys that I signed at the end of the season that were the ones that I scouted, there are others. As I've looked through each of the nations, as I searched them one by one, the African nations, there actually were quite a few others that are similar to those 3. Maybe not as good as the best one we got, but that are good. And plenty of guys that we can sign this season that are going to reshape this team and be competitive riders at a Continental and or Continental Pro level. Right now, we do not have anything that's going to be World Tour level. Give it time, find some success in the lower divisions, build up popularity and or training over a number of years, and we'll get there. Problem being, the entire database just gets stronger and stronger as you play the game. But it's only year 2. We won't worry about that yet. So there is potential. And there are plenty of young riders. I only have 3 expiring contracts, but this is going to give us an opportunity to expand our roster out a bit so that we can start handling 2 races at once, especially as at some point we're going to be Continental Pro. I don't know if it's going to be right away season number 3, but we're definitely going to get better. There's only a couple existing riders that I am potentially targeting. Arroyo was a little bit beyond our reach, and Tesfazion was the one that I was really looking at going, oh, I want to get him. But no, the points, the money, it's just not going to be there. Kind of the one existing rider that we may likely target, Mulebron. That'll be it. He was on my playthrough a couple years ago, so I've had him here on the channel before. As we have 12K to go, we got to put our foot down here real fast before those guys actually escape and succeed. Zerai is not somebody I want to get dropped off the back. We'll use his red bar and then drop him to the back of the group. We're not going to let him linger at the front too long, but we go under the 10K banner with 2 hills. 2 hills to navigate. Zerai taking us over the first one. There you go. We'll go ahead and move on to Dia, and then let Zerai quickly grab onto the rear end of the group. 9 riders away. We're pulling back 4 of them. These are the guys that just attacked, and then the break. But as we go over the top of this hill, that one put a little hurting in because Abdia is a rather punchy guy, and so he got up there pretty quick. And actually, we split the field. We make contact with 5 riders. Now there's 4 left off the front, and we're at 6K to go. So we'll gel up for the rest of these guys. How are we looking at downhill? David's is good downhill, and we need to just kind of move on anyway. Abdia, we're going to get through our rotation, 3.8K. Last hill. Last 2 riders just ahead of us. 2.7, Johannes starting his sprint. Ashimwe starting his sprint. Kudos, 1.7K. It's a good enough lead out, but I don't know if it's a good enough lead out for a win for Gibbons, but we are all over the front of this field, and we're going to get on the podium, but I don't think we're going to win. Gibbons not able to come through. He's already used up his red bar. Yeah, second. Close, but Kudos is our main guy for the GC. He's going to pick up 6 seconds of bonus, so never mind the stage win. I think this is actually better. This is better. That's really good for us. Talk about dominating without actually dominating. Kudos, of course, like I said, I think that works out better for us because he's going to gain those bonus seconds. 1 rider on the podium and not claiming the win, while having the entire team, 7 riders in the top 9. Incredible result, while also being a oh darn, it was so close kind of result. But here's actually the good news besides Kudos gaining 6 seconds following 21st place, 25-second time loss, and then at 59th, minute 5 time loss. There's going to be some GC guys that lost time today, not only in terms of the time bonus that we managed to pick up, but also in terms of, and remember, we have 7 riders in that top 18. Top 18, as we're already looking at multiple guys that had lost time on a previous stage. We're really only looking at 11 contenders that are in a similar position to what we are, and our top guy for the GC is a little bit even better place than that. Fantastic start on a stage where I didn't expect much to happen, and in a way it didn't. We didn't win the stage. Ultimately, a whole lot happened, and we were the driving force to that split. 2 stages left to go. I'm going to squeeze those into our next episode as we continue to progress at this pivotal point of the season in terms of that sponsor confidence, but also decision making for the dossiers who we're going to incorporate into the team next season. Likewise, right here in the scouting department, where one new thing that I absolutely love this year is now in your results page, your reports page, it now can be broken down by scout. And that's really important because it used to be really tricky. You had to kind of go nation by nation and know who fell into which region, especially if you had, say, 4 scouts. It was tricky. It was really tricky to break that up and go and figure out how to use your observations because you didn't have the ability to filter, to organize your list by scout. This way, you could tell exactly who would fall into the observation, and you can key in on which observations you want to get done at a time. This is a rider that I would really like, but he stands out differently than the rest because he's from Rwanda, but he's surrounded by guys from South Africa. And there's that kind of point of, well, which scout would pick him up? Well, I know because I know which scout provided the report. I like this guy because he's multifaceted, but he's only coming in at 3.5. So even as we push him up to maybe a 7, if he turns out to be a 4, okay, nice for him. Maybe, just maybe, one day we'll sign him and bring him into the club, or into the team if he's a bit more well-rounded. But it's looking not likely. Hence, I'm going to move on from that guy and not scout him. But somebody who's cobble rated, that's something we really need to bring into the team. A good climber, something we really need to bring into the team. One of just 2.5 star guys that we have evaluations on at this point. Yeah, that's a key. Well, that tricky period where we did a lot of quick sims and had just 2 races that did not go well has seen us drop down the rankings quite a bit to 52nd, but it's still a lot higher and a lot better than what we did last season. We have already outscored last season completely. And where last season we ended up finishing with quite a few U23 teams ahead of us, you can see that's not the case this time. We're surrounded by Continental and even some Continental Pro teams. Team DSM's developmental team, 59th, behind us by 130 points. Things are definitely going better than a year ago. We are having some success. We are looking at increasing that payroll for next season. But by how much? That's the question to be answered in the next episode. That's going to do it for this one. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.